Now we're going to look at how to build that story step by step, or in our case, act by act. The 3-act structure is a simple and powerful way to plot out a story. It's used not just by filmmakers, but by writers and novelists. Act 1 is all about the setup. Some call it the exposition. It's where audiences are introduced to the lead character and a picture of their life. Now, not the whole life story, just enough for context and to get audiences to care. The key is to show what the hero's goal or mission is: win the baking competition, solve a problem, impress the new boss. You also have to show what the conflict is. What's the main obstacle that's getting into the way of achieving that mission? Past failure? A competitor with more resources? Ideally, you show this conflict in action, what people call the inciting incident. And it's not just something that you explain in an interview. Now, if there's no way around it and you have to rely on verbal description to set up the conflict, be creative in how you dramatize it. A close-up of someone's face that shows the emotions. Hands clutched, a can being crushed. Just think of what audiences will see on screen as the conflict is being explained. Act 2 is the meat of the story. The conflict escalates into a series of greater and greater challenges. How do you do that in a documentary for the business world? You have to pay attention and draw out the obstacles and psychological monsters that are hidden in everyday camouflage. Instead of a car chase, is there a looming deadline? What are the negative forces and naysayers that surround our key character, maybe inside their heads? Now, a tip for you: deadlines and ticking clocks are powerful ways to increase the tension and suspense in Act 2. The conflict peaks in Act 3, where your lead character confronts their final challenge. To kick off Act 3, you want your audiences to feel the immensity of this final hurdle. For instance, just as the team thinks they're ready to launch the product, they find out that a key competitor has just moved their product launch up a whole week before them. Or your hero, after mastering that perfect chocolate souffle, realizes he's out of chocolate chips the night before the competition. You want to create a crisis moment that some storytellers call dramatically the dark night of the soul. That way, when the crisis is finally resolved, your audiences will be primed and ready for the climactic and cathartic resolution. Now, in Act 3, you also want to show the transformation your character has gone through. How has the journey changed him or her? Is he or her more confident, wiser, kinder? We'll go into this in more detail in the next lesson on character building.